Hello, my name is Denver Bonds, and this is my field assignment project. Um, the question I started had for my well used as my research question was how can urban legends have an impact on people and on their lifestyle or way of life? The reason why I chose this was because I tend to see a correlation with these stories being told and the way people go about living their life, or sometimes they develop quirks or habits around these stories. Um, so more so, these stories have a really an impact on their lives than what they think they do, or just actually hearing a random story. And sometimes with this, these stories could have been told continuously over time, and these habits or um, things that people develop, these quirks or rituals, um, are developed from hearing these stories and hearing these stories multiple times, and also at a certain age, hearing these stories. Now, I did feed them a series of questions for the project. These questions being how did urban legends come to existence, generally how they're spread, what is an urban legend, their definition of it, or what they think an urban legend is. And then I had fed them my reference stories, which is Take My Ticket story. It's just a short story about how a guy he left tickets in his window going to go on a shopping spree to a football game he didn't have an urge to go to, and happened to gain an extra pair of tickets that he tried to give away. And then from that, just seeing if anybody have done any random or random unknown acts of kindness for you. And then with that, also I had a more so a horror story about companies or hearing rumors of people or restaurants that have served up food or not food, but wild animals or contaminated food products. And one of the stories that picked out for that was the Kentucky Fried Rat, which I think a customer one day went to KFC to get a bucket of chicken and actually found a deep fried rat in that bucket of chicken as well. And the last story I had was the story of the improved product, which is people that tend to create or make these magnificent inventions that can pretty much change society or make us have a greater scientific advance, but they choose to keep these inventions and discoveries to themselves just out of personal interest. They don't care about money, they don't care about fame. It's just something that they keep only for themselves and solely for themselves. Um, Now, for the research portion of this project, I did interview three people, and the three people I interviewed was one my roommate Kai. He is same age as me. He's 25, but excuse me. He has traveled a lot. He spent a lot of time around the states, different parts of the states. He's been down south. He's been to the East Coast and stayed in these parts generally a significant amount of time to get to know the culture of the area, hearing the stories, hearing the tales of the area, and he's also into what I want to say, the supernatural. He loves hearing urban legends and scary tales, campfire tales, all that fun jazz. So I picked him as a good candidate for my interviews. The second I have is my little younger cousin. He's just a couple years younger than me. Um, and he was more so as my control for these for the urban legends. He's not a fan. He doesn't believe in them. He only believes facts. If he can't see it, he won't believe it. So that's the reason why I chose him. Now he does acknowledge them to a certain extent, but any part that he feels that is false or he can discredit, he will, and he'll run with it. Now, last I chose was uh, my younger cousin, D. He's 16, and the reason why I chose him was because just to have an insight from a different age perspective on these stories and urban legends, and hearing a different view, a younger view of it, maybe more so as it's being developed for these rituals, and setting up for that impact on his lifestyle, to hear the stories that he's heard and some of the reasons he does some of the things that he do, or maybe he's heard stories that, you know, this is why I don't do this, or this is why I don't go to these types of places. So that's why I chose him, to just have a different age perspective on the project. One of the big discoveries, I mean, it's really common, is that these stories are generally spread through word of mouth. Um, from my roommates in Kai, he did mention, you can hear one story on the coast, say New York, and go to Cali and tell one person, and it can spread like wildfire throughout the entire state. Um, these are generally just socially engaging. It's easy to tell. It's easy to use these to spark conversation, to seem interesting or give somebody interesting information. Um, a big thing that nowadays from my younger cousin is social media. A lot of rumors and stories now are, you know, instantly available online through social media. They're passed around every single day. There's pretty much no way to not get this information around nowadays. Um, and people really develop a lot of, like I said earlier, these quirks, rituals, and habits from hearing these stories, um, such as the food, the fried rat. And instances of people who say Halloween, people would check their candy. And I know even myself, I tend to do this, check every piece of candy before I eat it, just out of my own concern and safety. Um, and that's one as well. These stories can be told to um, have a person build self awareness, or be more cautious of the things they do, the things they eat, places they go that they're going to. Um, and with the Take My Ticket story, these stories are able to instill good values, or um, help people build those values, to give back, to do good, to not, you know, be bad, not necessarily bad, but develop bad habits per se, or, bad morals. That's what I'm saying. They're bad morals. Um, so people would tend to tell these stories at different ages, and really telling them younger, and hearing it again and again growing up. This would tends to really build that foundation to make that impact from these stories. And yeah, and this really concludes the end of my presentation. These are my findings, and I hope you